Missouri, Black Money, represent. Love it. Glad to be here.
All right. So, today we're gonna pick up from the last episode dealing with sexual responsibility. We want to try to dig in a little deeper than we did the first time. Uh, bro, Tommy, can you give like a quick summation of what we talked about, if you remember a little bit, so we can bring Brandon up to speed, and then we can move to the next level on it.
Um, touched on childhood trauma from having sex early as a teen or adolescent or just a young adult, and how your experiences stay with you, especially in particular your first experience stays with you for the rest of your life. uh, these decisions affect us in adverse ways, and we just was picking that apart.
Right.
got kind of got kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
It is deep though, like it's super deep. I think it touches everybody really.
Okay. All right. Um. So some other things we were talking about is how you know these decisions stick with us. With the rest for the rest of our lives, they start to shape who we are, what we are as we go further um, in our life. And so we did some research to try to support that. And let me bring my notes
To
up here.
support it.
Yeah, to support that. I'm sorry. So one of the ways that I wanted to look at how these decisions support stay with us is like they create memories, and memories live inside you for a long time. You know, and sometimes we share these memories with other people, and they become part of they reality. As a young man, I can remember hearing the older guys talk about what they did. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll come and tell you certain things that you should try, and so that in turn affected me, and I would go try what they just tried. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
you know, I remember a guy told me one time, you gotta play with them with your hand, and I thought that was the nastiest thing ever. You know what I mean? So that was something that had happened to me as a child, and it affected me not in a bad way, but at the time I was like, ew. But as I
Yeah.
got older, those things kicked in because it was already a part of your mentality. You knew what was to be expected. You know what I
Cheat
mean?
code.
Yeah, it was a cheat code. Yeah, so that was one of my experiences that I had. Like, if you guys got any experiences that people shared with you that wasn't an adult sharing it with you. No adult shared with me the responsibilities of it. It was young kids, my age, a little bit above, maybe 2 or 3 years my senior, sharing those things with me. And every now and then an adult that with a childish like mine would share some of that stuff with me. You know what I mean? And so it do affect us when these people step to us and share these ideas with us. So y'all got anything that like happened to y'all when y'all were young that have kind of affected you when you were making that transition to having sex?
Well, for me, like I wasn't sexually active as about the same rate as most people, my peers.
Mm-hmm.
I traditionally had long relationships, and I didn't get sexually active until I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all remember, like there used to be this show that came on when we were younger, and it was just they were really focusing on AIDS, and they were talking about just, and then I would see other videos of like basketball stars that were had great potential, but what held them back was the fact that they had children. So that was one of the reasons for me, and I held back because I was like, I knew I was going to be great. Um, you know what I mean? So that played a role for me. But I remember my uncles and my cousins, they all saying, "Man, remember you get acne?" They're like, "Man, you got to go out there and have sex. I get rid of that." You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I was like, I guess it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. You get a lot of pressure. I think in life we get a lot of pressure, but that was one that I've received the greatest amount of pressure for, and it just overcoming an obstacle. But you would see other friends, getting, doing their thing, and and that was working for them. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like my experience there, I mean, I can tell you how to keep a relationship for a long time, more or less. But
Right, right.
yeah, yeah,
Well, you know what? That's strange that you say that because there's a article I read that said that um, children. I don't, I don't know if it's something you said to me, Tommy, or if it was in the article, but children that wait, males and females that wait to engage in sex, they often are more successful and focused.
Right.
And they have less distractions where that young guy that started, he'll get distracted by the girl in the crowd. But when the guy that haven't been distracted by sex, he can go full on and have the best career. You know what I mean? A high school career. And I think it was one thing we were talking about is how fighters were asked to not to have sex before an activity because
That's what I brought up.
yeah, okay, because it kind of drains you, uh, and take away that spark that you will have, and so that was yeah, that was something that I noticed because not every child started off early, and then there's studies that show there's things that happen to people, young adults when they start off early, and I think it has a lot to do with arrested development, because some of the things is that it messes with their emotional well-being. Uh, they have difficulty connecting with other people, especially if you mix drugs into that. Now you really got some issues on your hand. There's a whole list of things that affect the young people when they have it. And I think last show we were saying that an individual that starts say an individual that starts young, they kind of like they get stuck in that period because now we can understand because of that arrested development, they're stuck at that moment because they lose they mental health declines. You know what I mean? They when as an adult they have a tendency to reminisce about the fun times of what they used to be like. You know what I mean? And you know oftentimes the same distractions that got you back then are the ones that plague you in your life that you're moving forward in. Like how it's hard for some men that started young to really be successful at business, even at in their 30s, 40s, and sometimes taking into their 50s, where they still chasing that, like I call it that drug, that ultimate high, where they chasing that. You know what I mean? And you can tell when you have conversations with them because it's hard for them to stay focused on and keep it's hard for them to keep a focus. And that's another thing that happens. A child that doesn't have it has good focus. A child that uh, does have sex has a poor focus.
not to cut you off, would you say that if people weren't encouraged to have sex so much that you would see, like, even if it just wasn't a topic, do you see the rate decreasing or increasing, or you see that play a role in anything, like as far as like the peer pressure that you receive? You think if there was lack of, do you think that that would do anything as far as determining when you're going to decide that you're going to give up your virginity?
Absolutely. That's I just had to throw that out there
Hmm.
Yeah,
because
why would you say so? Because I'm interested to hear that.
because I remember how much how much of that was out there. You know what I'm saying? It was peer
Hmm.
pressure was nonstop. You know, I was yeah, it was nonstop. It was at home, it was at school. You know, it
Yeah.
was out there. I
The reason I
for
bring
me
this
it
up,
was
go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
for me it was anyway.
I was gonna say the reason I bring that up is because I feel like that some people feel like their destiny in life is what other people say their destiny should be. And I don't know if that plays a role as far as the peer pressure. People are pressured to go after so and so more than they are to do something that really betters them. You know what I mean? So we follow trends or we do what seemed to be popular. You know what I mean? I remember dating a girl back in the day. I didn't think she was attractive, but everybody else thought she was hard. Everybody else thought she was attractive. I was like, well, shit. I mean, maybe my glasses dirty. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think that peer pressure,
So
you
why?
know, go ahead.
So why'd you date her, man? You don't mind me asking? Why'd you date her?
Man, she was popular. She ran track.
Okay.
She was thick.
Okay. My
I
bad.
mean, it was,
That's
but
good.
her face
I,
wasn't.
I I wanted to know. I just wanted to know. That
Yeah,
was a
no,
good answer.
yeah,
Inquiring
yeah,
minds probably wanted to know. I know mine did.
yeah. Nah,
I didn't. Continue on, sir.
I'll be
Continue
cheering
on.
for it. Keep going, run that track. Nah, I'm joking, but yeah, I just think that plays a role in it. I think that it's unfortunate that we encourage our youth to do things that didn't work for us. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
and it's okay to encourage them, but the right way. You know what I mean? Like, hey man, get your money. The women gonna be there. You know what I mean? Get your money first, and then everything else you wanna, it'll come.
That's
But yeah, I
that's
just remember, huh?
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say, but I just remember, like I said, when I was younger, just that was the biggest thing. Is like it wasn't when you choose to do that, like not to have sex. It's not that you don't get the options. You get the option, and then you kind of look like the fuck. What's wrong with me? You don't want to hit me? Like I mean, there's been so many situations that I walked away from where it was like that could have really went down, and um, and I think that if we as young men, because I only got experience being a young man, if we can feel confident to do what makes sense to us instead of doing what other people may say that we should be doing, whether you got acne or not, go through that phase. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I think that when we can do that, I feel like we have a better chance of living and becoming our better self. Because again, most people don't care about your problem. Most people don't care what you got going on. So why would you try to allow them to pressure you into doing something that you're not all that sure about?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sex is great. I ain't gonna take that. Sex is great. Um, but what's your life worth?
And under what, it's it has to be some type of what's the word I'm looking for? Context to that. Like having it just to be having it is
Yeah,
recreational. You're
yeah,
not gonna
And
get
so,
much done. You know.
and that's that yeah. That's why that's why we here, man.
yeah,
Why we here, man? Because we peep something, and we wanted to talk about it. We wanted
Mm-hmm.
to talk about it. Our environment, man, is facts over feelings, and
yeah,
we promote a broader perspective for the next generation. You know what I'm saying? Because things like this right here, and we want to absolutely have the opposite effect, man. We don't
yeah,
no more of the you know the mental restraints. We free of those, so we're
yeah,
not holding ours back no more. We pushing them. We you know we
yeah,
want to give them a turbo boost.
yeah,
So um, that's a lot of the intent. So now we still breaking it down, man. We using a scientific approach, and hey man, we still young. You know what I'm saying? So
mhm,
we still we this is application, you know,
yeah,
as
Yeah.
well. So it's just building, man, and it's good. It's great. Happy to be here. So um, I had a question. Did I ask you the question? Did I ask you my question already, Fala?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Well, we touched on okay, that's what it was. Um, so I wanted to touch more on the effects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the effects of not starting too young, but well, not only starting too young, but when people that start young with older, people. They partner
Right.
older. They first partner is
Right.
older, you know, and
What would you say young is? What would
adolescent,
you for
teen,
age?
high school,
High
you
school,
know,
okay.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
older would be like somebody that maybe what
out of high
25.
school,
Out of high school.
out of high school,
20 and up.
yeah,
Okay.
Yep. 20
you
and
know,
up.
yeah. We seen that a lot coming up, you know.
Hmm.
So, and that's bouncing off of the last time we touched on it, but we didn't dig. We want to break it down.
Hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We touched on it though. Like when you have an older guy uh out of high school, see the girl, she's overly developed, pretty girl, but she's in high school.
Physically
You know what
overly
I mean?
developed.
Yeah,
Yeah, but not mentally.
yeah, physically. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you know how it go.
Yep.
So now you got a situation. That situation right there, um, that's one of the situations that you touched on where it leads to that person having these type of uh character flaws or whatever.
Yep. So like let's see. I'm gonna read a list of a few of them, and let's see have we noticed this in growing up in our lives, where these young ladies and young men. This is not a bias between male or female. This is both of them have these. I'm gonna read the list. Emotional well-being is shot. They have difficulty connecting with others. They battle depression, stigmas. They have intimate partner violence, low self-esteem, and declined mental health. You also have it's all yeah. That's what I'm gonna just leave on that one right there. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that because there's other
Yeah,
things,
that's a
but
yeah,
it's
that's a lot.
yeah.
That's a
I've,
lot.
I've dealt with some of those myself,
Yeah.
and I didn't start that young. Like I don't think I did. I started around 16 one time, and then I went to prison, and then when I got out at 21, I started again. But I dealt with some of those things myself because I wasn't quite, you know, it was something to do because I didn't have nothing to do. I didn't have someone to you know guide me towards raising my quality mentally or even having any connection spiritually because I had older parents. So have you guys have noticed in your environment growing up, have you noticed certain girls or guys that really were like depressed, they had a problem with connecting with people, their emotional well-being was messed up, and yet they still functioning.
I mean, I would say that I don't know for the couple of people I know that did start early. Um, Both of them have some emotional concerns, but I don't know if that was a result of them having sex. It could be. It could be, and what I'm speaking of is two women. I feel like that for whatever reason, that was the way that they showed and they felt love.
Mm.
Um, and both of them have an issue with seeing their own worth. You know what I mean? So I think
Self-esteem.
yeah, I think that when a person's over sexualized or they experience that at a too early of an age, it it gives you that drug. You receive that drug before you get a chance to find out other things that can make you happy in life. And your goal, I think, at that point is just to get that more, and it messes with your psychological because you're still in the developmental stages.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that and sex becomes, it feels like a way of sweeping that under the rug, you know. So the medication for depression is having sex at some for some individuals that deal with.
Right.
You know, at least for the ones that I've had experience with interacting, the stories they told me, you know, whereas trains ran on them. It was, just, being molested at a younger age, you know what I mean, by my ex molested by her babysitter at a younger age. Grew and it just the confusion. You know what I mean? So it does. I think, yeah, yeah. I think you're correct.
Man, that could sound like me, a little bit. I had a
Yeah.
lot. I had a lot to that I went through that had me. I was in that place already anyway, so I wouldn't knew the difference.
Hmm.
But but I can see that it does make a difference. It made a difference in my life still.
Hmm.
So um, but let's talk about it, man, because it's really it's kind of a new concept to me. Like it's something that it's just one of those things that we don't really draw off of heavy enough
Hmm.
as a community,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
So,
Norm,
so I want to, he said, I want to build on something when you're done, bro, of how that affected our communities too. So I'm
yeah,
gonna
I'm
bring it
that's
up.
we talking about it. I'm just starting that talk right there. That's all.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and go on kick it off, bro.
Well, one thing that I have found out in researching is we complain about welfare, and child support, and we complain about um, how certain people are able to access government help, but a lot of that stuff was an extension of I don't want to say the word, but statutory, because
Mm,
that's what it is when older people start to older
right.
adults mess with children. It's called statutory. The other word. We don't want to say that, but
Hmm.
and that right there leads to a lot of young women who are not having any covering because of some man that chose to deal with her, and her not being able to take care of herself, needing help. So that put a big burden on the welfare system for having a lot of women access those funds. And that was strictly an adult issue where the men were. I'm the way I see it now is they were. A lot of men prey on young girls. They are very predatory. Because I remember when I was in junior high, you would see the guys outside the school. When I went to senior high, the older guys would be outside the school to pick the girls up, and these guys would be grown. And after they messed around. Those girls changed when they came to school. They was a little bit older. They cared less. They tried to carry certain adult swag. Um, yeah, so that was just one thing I wanted to put that out there. How most of those girls that are in college, if they're having babies by men that are older, those men are not sticking around to take care of those little babies. You know,
Yeah,
and the system picks it up. So we
yeah,
want to blame other individuals in our systems, in our communities for having us be a certain way. But it's I think largely there are adults that are like hiding um, their intentions with young children. They're lying about it and hiding what they're doing. And not just men, there's women too, because there's effects of women. What does that do to young boys when a woman takes advantage of him? Because that's all that they're doing is taking advantage of underdeveloped mentally these underdeveloped children mentally. They can't defend themselves.
yeah. It's safe to say it's practically the same effects. Definitely adverse effects there though.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely because
I feel like it's pushed on us. I feel like that. I mean, we of course we make decisions how we want to live our life. But if you turn around like looking at cartoons, there's always a man, a grown man that's playing with kids.
hmm,
You know what I
Yep.
mean? You look at Disney, you look at all that. So I feel like that we've been led to believe to try to make that a norm. But what happens naturally, let's say that I have you're around this girl. You're not attracted to her, but you're around her a lot. Y'all work together. There's a good chance y'all gonna end up messing with each other. You know what I mean? It's a good chance. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean y'all gonna have a relationship and y'all gonna do something though. So naturally, I feel like when you make something a norm, like hanging out with kids, you're saying that this is okay. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. It just what it does in your mind. Just like there has to be a man involved, like with Barney, and with it has to be a grown man involved.
Wow.
If you look
Yeah.
back at all that old stuff, and I feel like and for us, we teach our kids to watch TV, and what of course is important for everyone to act white. You know what I mean? So they're teaching us how to act white, but they're not following that same stuff, or they are, but we get in trouble when they don't. Like those guys with Nickelodeon that was playing with those kids and all that. I think that it's something, a subliminal message that we're receiving, that we're trying to make it seem like it's we're ignoring the fact that what it's doing, not just for our children, like Santa Claus. Why is it okay for your kid to go sit on a grown man's lap and tell him what he wants?
Boy.
Boy, that's deep right there.
I mean, I don't know. So I think that we live in a perverted society, and the world doesn't do. We don't want to admit to it, and the only way to change it is to change the whole dynamic altogether. You know what I mean? But
Thank you for covering the left field, man. For real. Yeah, that's wow, bro. You took it there. You
Yeah.
took it there, man.
Yeah, that's good though. We need to open up those
Hey,
those
I'm
doors, you
all
know what I
for it.
mean?
Yeah,
What
that's
about
that's
Mr.
excellent.
What's that Mr. Rogers neighborhood? What is that?
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that,
You know
all
what I'm
of it.
That's
saying?
one of
Blues
them.
Clues
That's
is
one of
always
them.
some soft kind of feminine man
Yeah.
talking to your children, you know what I'm saying? Making them comfortable with yeah, man.
Okay. I still I'm always want to come from I always want to start with beginning end with self, because I'm all about accountability, man.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I just really uh I just really believe that'll be a major catalyst in the community, is for more accountability, you know,
Yeah.
not, self first and foremost. That's a great
Mhm.
start. Then, start holding each other accountable. And that's why a lot of these things flew, man, and why they still fly. None of that. It's less and less.
Yeah.
Everybody minding their own business, you know what I'm saying? But this is your business because, this affects you. This is your family some kind of way, or you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
well, and I so a little bit about my background. I used to have group homes with developmental disabled clients. I was a quality developmental disabled professional. So our job was to try to understand our clients and their mental state. And we worked with a lot of clients that came from sexual abuse, whether it came from their family or just a number of different things. And with my experience in handling, and it's one of those things. The mind is so crazy, and it picks up on so much stuff that we don't even necessarily realize. um, and we have to be very, very careful because it is so delicate, you know. And I understand the accountability there, but we got to have a replacement behavior. So instead, like for example, if I tell you you cannot have this chicken and that's it,
Yeah.
that's not the right way of doing that. I should say you cannot have this chicken, but you can have
This.
this instead. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I need to give you an
Right.
option. And the thing with us is that we don't have the examples or the different options. Are you telling me I shouldn't watch Blue's Clues? Then what should I watch? Because I
Right.
want to watch TV. What can I watch?
Right.
Hmm.
I'm gonna watch Blue's Clues if you don't have another. Whether I watch it here or I'm gonna watch it at my
Mm-hmm.
friend's house or I'm gonna watch it on my cell phone as a child or whatever. So I think that instead of yes, we do need to be accountable, but we got to be creative as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
that, and I think a part of that is because we grew up, our parents were kind of hard. You know what I mean? Like, don't do it. Why should I do that? Well, that just don't do it. And some
Mm-hmm.
people it went well for them, and some other people it didn't. But you want your child to be creative, but you want them to open up their mind and be able to understand, like, why should I not go and sit on Santa Claus's lap? Well, kids shouldn't go sit on any man's lap, whether you're male or female. You shouldn't do that. But If there's something that you want for Christmas, tell me, and we'll figure out if we can work that all out. Instead
Right.
of just saying no, don't do that. Like that's just where I'm at, and I think that we don't have another option. We don't present. We're not thinking outside of the box as creatively as we can. I don't feel like that. I don't feel that our, and I'm speaking of our culture. I don't feel like that. Um, that we're only just about ourselves. We just don't know how to. We're not giving examples. People don't aren't the ones that are successful with it don't bring that knowledge back to us. So we had to find out
Mhm.
the trial and error. Um, but yeah, I really feel like that I think people love their kids. I think they do. I just think they don't know how to handle it in these times because it's so strongly pushed. You cannot find a show right now for kids, in my opinion, that doesn't have an adult that plays a major role as a friend. I'm talking outside of the parents as a friend.
Hmm.
Why should you be looking for a grown up to be your best friend?
Mm. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I
That's
was saying
something.
in the last episode is we don't have nothing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You if you like I see what you're saying, and I appreciate that because if you don't have nothing to do, you're gonna gravitate to what is actually something going on. That mind's gonna be attracted to something going on. And
Mhm.
how do we compete? How do we compete with that? You know what I'm saying? That's a hell of a drug. So how do we compete with that? And by having something that keeps challenging you, that keeps pushing you.
Yeah,
And
you got to stay ahead of that development.
yeah, you gotta stay ahead of it. Don't give them, don't like I had like things changed for me when I just always set goals. When I kept setting goals and I started looking at putting so that was another thing that we wanted to talk about too is like um understanding our bodies. Like we don't have the basic knowledge of what these bodies can do and uh what they're capable of. But we only know the feeling of the action, but not um we don't have the science, a keen understanding of that internal workings of the body. I think that's something that's needed too for young kids, um, uh, just to really have that information.
That,
Not the way they taught us in school. They taught us how to put a rubber on, which is basically it's a level of responsibility, but it's actually showing a lack of discipline.
right.
Because you just can't say no.
You sweeping it under the
Hold
rug.
up though.
Yeah.
I got one for you though. Okay. What is what is a condom for actually?
And
To
very
prevent.
good segue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we talk about if you go in this direction, we talk about the women and what they do when they have unwanted situations occur with their body, and we want to feel some type of way. But what are we doing? When we wear condoms and throw our life away. You know what I'm saying?
Abort.
Yeah, abort mission. You know what I'm saying? Abort mission.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the same. If I agree with you, bro. Like when
So
we were talking earlier, um, that's the life begins at that moment. If we really like for what me and bro try to do, we try to push the level of where our quality is, try to raise the standard. If we can look at them and say that it's their body, they can do what they want to. Well, it's our body, we can do what we want to. Now look at what we're doing, what we want to do. We're throwing our life away in a bag. We put it in a rubber bag and throw it away. And at the same time, that's what led us to why they don't want you to engage in sex before a game or something when dealing with your athletics.
yeah,
So
I was gonna take you back there. Yeah.
yeah,
So I wanna expound a bit on that because that's clutch right there. You know, um, it takes away from focus. It takes away from energy output, right?
yep,
So So why, you know, why didn't we push for that, or why don't we push for that like a lot? You know what I
Like
mean?
retention, basically, not even letting
Yeah,
it
like
go.
a lot. Like, yeah, just don't do it. How about that? Don't do
Yeah,
it
that
for the
should be
season. How about
holy
don't
and
do it for
sacred.
the whole season, or just,
Yeah, like we should put. How about we
till
don't put
you
enough
grow up.
value on? Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm saying, just pushing that, just pushing that, and I'm always coming from a place of empathy where I'm putting myself in the teenage mindset, you know, because I know how it is trying to talk to youngsters, man. You have to know that you have their attention, or else it's a toss up, right? So that's all, man. I'm just, wanting to just really want to come up with realistic ways to really, you know, uh,
You know,
push
I
it
think
on them, man.
go ahead, go
Like
ahead.
you make it appealing to them. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
well,
Not just
and I
force
think
it on them, but make it look good.
you make it
You know
look
what
cool.
I'm
Like right now, that
saying?
whole like right now we're looking at the, and I call it the geek movement. But you know what I mean? It's like this generation now, like they were jumping in the tight pants and glasses and stuff like that. That stuff would have been kind of corny. Stuff that's popular now would have been corny while we in school, but somebody decided to make it popular. And that's what I feel like needs to happen as far as sex goes. We have to make it popular where it's okay. It's even not okay. It's cool if you don't do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
man,
Good luck with that.
yeah, no, I mean, because sex sells, I get it. But that to me, like for example, my uncles and whoever else wanted to talk to me and tell me, hey man, you need to get out there and have sex, should have never been able to do that. You know what I mean? And I think that because again, I think we need to start in my mind, I was smart enough to evaluate them and be like, hey, is this somebody I want to be? You know what I mean? And that's not somebody I want to be, so I'm not gonna take that type of advice from them because I've
Hmm.
already seen the consequences from that. You know what I mean? More or less. So it's just like I think that, like, for example, if you can surround your kids around people that'll say, man, now you're going at the right rate. Don't have sex. I know this school is gonna give you condoms. I know that. These girls, you're gonna feel like you gotta take her down, you gotta slay her. You wanna, but just wait. Just wait,
You
wait,
know,
wait.
one of my things that I look at is the most valuable the most valuable asset on the planet is, I mean, the most valuable thing on the planet is not anything material. It's humans. It's actually living beings themselves.
Mm-hmm,
And the only way that they can get here is through that substance that we produce.
mm-hmm,
So that means it holds value. And if
mm-hmm,
you don't hold value for that juice that you're producing, it's hard to see how you can hold value for the child that'll
mm-hmm,
come from it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
my thing is to try to go back and like I said, go back and learn the body and learn how really valuable that is. Without that, there is no more babies. We can have all the healthy women out here, but without us producing that, there's no more babies. Without them being healthy enough to raise that baby, it's no more babies. So um, that substance needs to be protected. That's why we're supposed to be the protector. We're not like, yeah, we're the protectors of a household, somebody break in, but we're the protector of the next generation. We educate them with what experiences we go through. Then we go take them to
we're
the
supposed to.
future. No, we do that. We do that with our experiences. Everything that you're learning. If you have a child, you're sending some information. A piece of you is going to that child, and a piece of her is going to that child. So it's important for us to know that that substance that we're producing has to be of high quality, and the women that we're looking for has to be of high quality. But we are actually going after women who I'll say, trash pandas. You know what I'm saying? They letting anybody, deal with them. They are full of all kind of mess. And then we go into that earth to plant a seed. And if generally we are unclean, and we're going to unclean temples to lay down until we want to call ourselves God. God of what? Filth. flooring. You know what I'm saying? We really don't understand how important that is. So for me, it's to go back and raise the awareness of the body and what it does, how important it is, how life is really created. You know, it doesn't start with the woman. You know, it ends with her. She's the ultimate teacher. She tells the baby where to put his heart and lungs, where the veins need to go, where the ears need to go, so it won't come out looking retarded. But you know, that's her job. But we're not talking about her job. We're talking about our job. And our job is to protect that seed and make it of its highest quality. And that's only the only we can't tell people not to do something that feels good. But we can show them how we can show them by examples, by being disciplined. A disciplined man is not going to always want to party. A disciplined man is, you know, he might be a little mean sometimes because his discipline matters more than the fun that he might or possibly could have with this or that woman. You know what I mean? And that's what got to be the value of the value of the characteristics of a person that's successful and a person that understands their body. That's what I think is the best thing we can put forth. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be hard to tell people not to do something. As soon as you tell a teenager, a kid not to do something, they want to try to go and do it just so they can see what you're talking about.
Would you not to cut you off? Would you say that would you say most kids know where they want to go in life?
I think all children are born with a certain divine path.
Yeah, but like you remember how back in the day they would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?"
Nah,
I don't think they know like that, but I'm thinking
yeah.
every child is they come here with a divine path, but the environment screws them up.
Well,
I wanted to be Billy the Kid, Jesse James.
uh-huh.
You spent a little
I
time
mean,
being
I,
them
I
though.
believed I believed in it. I thought that was my life's purpose at one time. I swear to God.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, no, you could. That's it.
Well, I was just gonna say that I feel like that, and I've had this conversation with a couple of like nephews and all that, and they really don't know, um, and a lot of them don't feel like their life is really worth that much. So they're like, I'm gonna just live life and just do whatever the heck I want to because I'm judging how important my life is based off of Facebook, how many likes or how many streaks I can get going on these social platforms and all of that. And and I feel like that if people had an idea or goal where they want to go in life and they knew that certain things they do could interfere with getting to that path, I think they would evaluate more frequently of the things they do to make sure it doesn't interrupt that. I think that people wouldn't take the chances they do. I mean, like, okay, you may not have a son that may be a virgin, but maybe he's not fucking as much. You know what I mean? Because it's going to continually be thrown out there to him, but maybe he's not just sliding it to anybody that hits him up. You know
Right.
what I mean, or whatever the
Hold,
case
hold
may
it.
be, because
Hold
he
the F
values
bombs,
it.
B.
Huh?
Easy on the F bombs, B.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize I cussed.
yeah, it
My
just fell
fault.
out.
Yeah, but but yeah, I mean, I just feel like that if there was just like, I don't know, if you just thought about that, if you know that this decision as a child you could be held accountable and this could change stuff for you in the future, maybe you would think more. Maybe you won't completely get away from it, but you'll consider that in your next movement. You know what I mean? And I think as parents, we need to be more transparent. I think parents need to stop pretending like they didn't make some of the mistakes that their kids are considering making. Because really, you're a testament for your child as a reason because they're similar to you. So you're going to be the best at help coaching them through the situation because that is a piece of you, as you talked about earlier. You know what I mean? More or less. So it's just like, I think that once we can be real with our kids, like my moms will sit up there and tell me sometimes, like, oh, we didn't really do it like that. You made mistakes.
What a
You
bit.
made mistakes. Call it for what it is, baby. I made mistakes. My first time was a whore, and I feel like the later the yeah, and I feel like the women and my mistakes, how that carried over. The women I chose to marry, had a reputation. So that's something psychologically that happened with me, you know what I mean? That followed me, and I have to evaluate that within myself.
Yeah,
More
Why is
data,
see,
huh?
that goes back to
more
what we
data,
said. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
more. No, I was saying more data about that first experience.
Hey, we right now we're 100%. We're 100%.
Man,
Everybody we ask to talk to is
Mhm.
that first one sets the template.
Yeah.
Even if you get a good girl, you're gonna turn her into a bad. If you get a bad girl, you're gonna be trying to turn her good. You know what I'm
man,
saying? That first one sets a template and it carries with you that memory, that genetic, that cellular memory, that body, the whole body. The body
just
has its
like
own
muscle
intelligence.
memory, just like
Yeah,
muscle memory.
the body has its intelligence. The cells have an intelligence. You're
Mhm.
born with some of that intelligence from past life. It's called useful information. You know what I'm saying? And it carries on through generations. So man, bro, thank you for sharing, man. Because we seeing it. We ain't seen one person that it don't affect them.
And I
All
thought
right,
about that.
so check it out, man, because I'm still, I'm still thinking practical practicality.
I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back, y'all. Keep going.
So, um, raising our quality, that's good. That's great. But what does that look like? What does that look like to have in order to have the deepest impact on these newer generations, man, on these youngsters? Because you fighting a hydra, man. You know what I'm saying? We fighting
Yeah.
a hydra, man. You got this social media, you got
We
you know,
can't relate to it's hard for us to relate to these kids because if we can call
bruh.
it out for what it really is, these kids to us are kind of weird.
Listen, man, but every
And it's hard
generation
for
when we were young, we was
yeah,
their age, man. We didn't listen either.
yeah, no.
You know what I'm saying? We just didn't. We listened at times, we had the right, we listened to the right person. You know what I'm saying? We listened
Mhm.
to certain people that we respected. And the people we listened to, we respected them because they came to us on our level. You
It's
know what I'm
harder
saying?
now. I
They
feel like it's
related to us
I feel like
first.
it's harder now for you as a parent with a young male or a young female because you're not you I would say that we may have been before like one third the influence. We're not one third the influence anymore. You were the influence, their friends in their school. It's not that anymore. You got social media now in there, and they're not a quarter of the influence. They're about half, if not maybe 55, 60%.
Yes,
You know what I
sir.
mean? So you're trying to work with about 20% of their time. And I've had discussions with people about this, about, I feel like you should, take your kid out for a day a month and spend time with them because we really don't have that much time to spend with them. You know what I mean? You think about when they go to school in the morning, you think about when you come home, you got to cook, they working on homework, you got to get clothes ready. You probably get an hour and a half, maybe two with the child, and their interest is and you tired at that point. So it's like everybody's in their room, they on their tablet, and you're just out here chilling and catching your breath from work. You know
All
what I mean?
right.
Because you're working extra because we got to pay for these cell phones and all that. But I think that makes it harder for us as parents, and that's why I feel like it almost goes back again. And I know this isn't for everybody, but owning your own business, because again, that makes it more organic for you to do what you need to do for your family. You know what I mean? And I
Ooh.
feel like that plays a big role, because your kids are going to have issues at school. Now you got to ask your boss if it's okay for you to leave work to be there for a child that you love, that you said you were going to protect. You know what I mean? And you don't, but you want to be able to pay your bills. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that we really don't. It's hard to fix this problem. Um, and I don't feel like it hurts our community. I think it's hurting everybody.
But check, okay, I'm gonna chime in right there, right? So I'll pose the question in the first place, right? What does that look like?
Uh-huh.
So, uh, what I came up with off the top of my head was this right here. You know, this is a good start. Um, what you doing, with your business. Excellent start. You way ahead of the game with that. Um, bro
That's
doing
great.
his thing. He right behind and I'm in tow. Uh, so that's another one. And then outside of that, man, just like everything we can, you know what I'm saying? Like um using our resources, networking and having forums like this in bigger settings with more influential people and business owners and community you know uh business owners, just businesses in the community or leaders, what have you. You know what I'm saying?
Entrepreneurs. Yep.
That's how, you know. Did you hear me, B?
Yeah, that last part, go over that again.
No, I was saying that's how we do it. We
Yeah.
just keep pushing this. We keep pushing it. You
Well,
know what I'm
and
saying?
and the whole thing about, like, to me, and that's when I was considering a business. There would be a lot of people that were so knowledgeable, and they watched all the videos, and they played a part in all the different speaking, but nobody put any action behind it. You know what I mean? And that's just what we got to be more about is the action piece. You know what I mean? My a little bit more of my experience. I used to be in Rotary, and Rotary is like a big group of like rich white people that do stuff for the whole world. Their goal is to cure polio. But they'll do a lot of stuff for people in their communities, and they're in every state. Like, for example, Bill Gates is he's in Rotary. But what I'm saying is that I think that us as successful individuals should come together and treat our families as our community, and I feel like that will play a big role in accomplishing this goal that we're speaking of today. Not only just fixing that issue, but fixing a lot more to come with it. And I know we've talked about that on sidebar, more or less, but yeah, just like coming together, like, hey man, with a little time you got, with, hey man, how's things going? How, what I mean? Not just worried about, because we'll be so caught up in my
Yep.
family's good, and that's all I care about.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
and 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 you got to understand, your kids gonna go to school with this person, so you better care.
Yeah, man. That's what I was saying earlier about seeing stuff going on and minding your business.
Yeah,
You know,
it's all your business.
it is. You know what I'm
This is
saying?
all
And
your
and
business.
and and I'm not trying to say be a nosy person in everybody's
No.
business either. But I'm saying
Yes.
we gotta start picking up the slack, man, because
Yes.
Yeah.
we it's not gonna come from anywhere else. Nobody else is gonna look out for our youngsters, our
No.
youth in our community,
Yes. I'm with
or
that.
the elders in the community. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Nobody in the community, you hear me? Except us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, period. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
a pregnant lady got shot the other day, man? Hands was up. Yeah, I don't even want to go there, but I'm just saying, man. It's eventually it's either it's it's gonna be what I'm saying right now, or it's just gonna be, dropping like flies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I don't see any middle ground.
It's basically like you said. It's the strong stay strong, and the weak stay weak. You know what I mean? And the ones that climb out of the flower that grows out of concrete, they got to break that person.
Yeah,
More or less. But it really is just trying to change that dynamic. Of how we're handling these situations, being more involved with not just our children, but with our children's friends.
yeah,
What I mean, getting to know them. I think that plays a big role in decreasing a lot of these issues if you know them, and that's something that I've seen because I graduated from Lee Summit High School, and that was a big difference. I went to Hickman and Ruskin before that. My senior year, I went to, like I said, Lee Summit because we had a house fire, and I
okay,
was just so surprised how, like, not only were the parents involved in their kids, like as far as like events, like they would still have parties with the parents. Sometimes would be there. Um, they would, and I've seen a couple of teachers at one of their parties. You know what I mean? But it's just like it's it's a group, it's a it's a group responsibility. Keeping these kids in this, or having these kids move in a certain direction, and that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they're successful. You know what I mean? One of the guys I hung out with, he had a situation where he did, I mean, they did bad stuff, but when it came to the confidence to believe that they could be and do well, they had that because not only was it the parent that was leading them, but they had other individuals that were involved in that movement.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can have that type of that energy to not just be there for mine, but be there for them, and then somebody do that same stuff for us. Like for example, if you see me walking, I'll leave a football game, and I'm walking in my football uniform. I'm in high school, and you ride by, that I'm probably walking a distance. Give me a ride. You know what I mean? Don't just have me. It's raining. You know what I mean? But we'll own, like my kids in the car. That's all we care about. But I think that it what you said earlier, that we leave a piece of ourselves in our child. So if our child sees us respond to other people like that, they're going to naturally feel like, okay, I want to do that same thing. And that's how I feel like you fix that issue. Make it a norm. What's normal is not to help out other people. What's normal is to get what you can get. And if you make it big, make sure you don't leave any breadcrumbs. That's a norm, and that shouldn't be. That's unfortunate that it is.
Big time. But it's this is our turn, man. We got our turn to be the old heads.
You know
It's our
what?
turn.
I want to chime in because I was listening to what we were talking about, and things occurred to me. Is most people don't know what that looks like. They don't know what it looks like for a man to be concerned about his environment,
Yeah.
and and and
Yeah.
so for them to see that, it will be offensive.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
will
You're supposed to
cause
mind
them
your
some
own
type of
business
like,
out here. You're supposed to
yeah,
mind
like
your own business.
what's up? Why are you even doing this? Why are you a part of this? Like, who asked you for that? Like, we have to be stronger to take a lot of rejection and trying to help people that come from communities and environments that they never even seen a brother help them out. So that means we would have to raise our quality up to where we won't have eggshells for backs.
And then
We have to be
and
skinned.
another thing too, I gotta add in, man. It's safety first. You can't always jump in and help, or you know what I'm saying.
Not everybody can be
Right.
helped. Not everybody
Yeah,
can be.
you don't know what
Yeah,
they.
everybody can be helped, but everybody can't be helped by you.
That's right.
Without you putting yourself in harm's way. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah. And then
So
too, like I said, we don't know what some of these people come with. Some people got, what
yeah,
what what brought us to this point for us, and then what bring us to come together and talk. It's that same energy and effort got to be made towards everybody. Like a person, like we made the mistakes young, but then we cleaning it up, and we also talking about it so we can give the youth an opportunity to see the mistakes that we made. And all of them ain't gonna listen because
that's what it's
we
all about.
we were talking at the shop with the two young boys the other day, and they wasn't trying to hear that.
Yeah,
And then the more we kept talking and sharing with them, they was like, "Well, damn, I never thought about it like that."
yeah,
So the best example, like I always say that the life you live determines the gravity of your words when you start to speak. If it has no history behind it, your words won't weigh on nobody.
yeah.
But if you make it through something, you can help somebody make it through something they've been through, and that's one of the things that I look at. We have to fortify ourselves. We have to conquer it in ourselves, each
No doubt.
individual, and then let that be a model for. It may just be one person that watches you and see that. It may just be one person, and that's all that's needed, really, when it comes down to it. That one person, because that person will turn around
He
and
might
have.
find one person.
yeah, another person. And then like if I can just if I can just be there for my children, and one of them get it, then I know a part of me is going into the future with that knowledge of how to do it. Now the thing is it's not enough. We got just it's for every one of us, there's probably 10, 20 men that say we stupid,
Mhm.
and for every one of us, there's probably 10 or 20 men that'll do what we won't do. They won't have the discipline we will have. So that means I see us as to have to work harder to raise our value a lot higher. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna
No
be faced
doubt.
with that. Somebody tell us we crazy for not getting it, then turn around and do a young lady dirty or a young man dirty. Because if they don't do it, somebody else is gonna do it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta, and then some of the things that we're working through, like going back into dealing with the effects of what it is to start having sex at a young age is we're dealing with mental illness that we have to fight. A person that's underdeveloped, they pretty much have some mental illness,
Yeah.
emotional illness, spiritual illness,
Yeah. That's
and
called
it's their own kid.
retardation, actually.
Huh?
That's called retardation, actually.
That's exactly, they thank you, brother. They have a certain form of as the word says, is they're slow to catch on.
Yeah. Hey, I'm part of that.
You know
I
what I'm
had it.
saying?
Still, I'm still fighting it off.
Mm-hmm.
Offset, working to offset it
and,
because
and,
it
and I'm,
took a long time just to even realize it was there. See, a
and
lot of
this
people
is
don't even not even conscious of it, let alone ready to work to offset it. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
it's yeah, hell of a thing, man. When you know better, you go better though. But go
Yeah.
ahead. I didn't mean to.
Nah, you good, bro? Because I'm just, I'm looking at how it affects us all, and for us to really, we have to be willing to face mental illness head on.
A lot of us, and not to interrupt you, it's unfortunate. I remember going to the doctor, my ex, and she was dealing with some psych issues. And one of the things that came up was the doctor had said something that was really interesting. He said it's unfortunate for us as Black people, we don't get the help we need when it comes to psych. But white people typically do, but we're the first one on the chopping block when it's time to get fired.
Mm,
And it's just like we're scoring each other. We make each other feel bad when we're dealing with that, or when we know someone's dealing with that. Um, when that is more common than people even give credit for, especially when you're considering anxiety. A lot of people are functioning with these complications, and they're just, I mean, they're not winning, of course, because it's not fixing the issue that's hindering them from becoming their better self. But we just scorn each other when we know that person has some, or we don't want to go to the doctor and get the help because of what people may say about us. And ultimately your goal in life is to be as happy as possible. You know what I mean? So the best way to conquer a fear is to attack it.
mm,
And you need to attack something. In order for you to attack it, you got to understand it. Like, hey, I'm dealing with this complication.
yeah.
All right, so I need to go ahead and fix it, whether it may be through natural stuff, whether it may be going through a doctor, whether it may be going to therapy, maybe whether it may be changing your atmosphere or changing your diet or what have you. But you need to attack it. You need to go at it as, and not look at it as something that I'm just going to not acknowledge and I'm just going to pray it goes away. You know what I mean? I'm just going to sit here and hope that it's going to go away,
Yeah.
because that just, like I said, that's insanity.
Yep.
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
You know, one thing
Go ahead.
I can say when we taking this transition here is that there's studies that have been shown of what the effects of having having sex does early. And I'm just, this is me going out on the limb to say that it's it's big business as long as you can keep generations of babies having sex early. And
Mm-hmm.
one of those things that that is definitely known but not known, like a hidden known, something that's hidden but known, is drug use. Drug use is one of the ways that they sedate people to not worry about the issues that they got or to escape. Now we know that it's systematic because um, there's big liquor companies. Now they've made you know, they made the tree available for recreational, and this is all things that can that kind of um, cloud the mind. And then there's also the I'm gonna just say it, the medical profession makes a lot of money off of babies being born. Uh, you know, Jabberwocky and the babies, hitting them up. They make a lot of money off of that. Then the visits that they have to come back, you got um, government funding for those babies who can't be taken care of for themselves. So it allocates a lot of money to these companies that kind of rely on um, they rely on individuals to not be thinking people. They
Yeah,
rely on them to be humans and not thinking men and women.
they make it
And
off the STD treatments
and
too.
the STD treatment, medications, the contraceptives, those are big businesses. These businesses are not out here to stop making money, and they will do whatever it takes to keep that money coming in. Hence, that they advertise to children. Hence, they have it in cartoons. Um, and once you we just said that if you have sex at an early age, you're locked into arrested development. That means you have a minor like mind, a child like mind. So
Yeah,
they're keeping us in that state, and then as long as they keep us in that state, these people, these companies believe that we need representatives to speak for us because we're not in the right mind. And then the environment which nurtures us, as soon as we have a child, and let's say this child is born with special gifts, or they really start to access their environment differently, they go right into the same situation. So this is a systematic thing that we're
yeah.
talking about. The more we build on it, this is not like these individuals are making this decision on their own. Someone understands. Like I say that we have more senses than five, and I'm gonna just share one tonight, and that's a sense of rhythm. The way that the brain operates, it operates on a rhythmic flow. You can put something in your head and hear it today, and it's gonna flow through your brain with a pattern, a rhythm. Someone figured out how to tap into that sense of rhythm and then monetized it. They monetize it on a consistent basis. That's why you have constant commercials. Now they understand that the brain works at a fast pace when you're young because you
Oh
can't hold
man,
your attention. And
yeah.
so they got quick commercials. I'm sorry, though. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was saying, B was talking about Disney earlier, man. Nobody even brought up the potential pedophile slash human trafficking ring that been going on down there, man. They had so many arrests and indictments and whole crap storm going
We
on
want
down
to kind of
there,
stay
man.
away from speaking the trendy words about that. We could talk about it, but we got to talk about it with intelligence. We know that they act funny about what certain words because people that like, I don't want you. The one thing about a narcissist is they don't want you to be able to see what they doing and talk about it.
Right.
So they try to, there's only so many words that they can stop you from saying, but they can't stop us from conveying true meaning. So,
Gotcha.
convey
And
the
that,
meaning, but not the word
My,
so much.
yeah,
and,
just a point that just adding on to what you're saying and pointing that out is
Mm-hmm.
that it's a real thing. And I'm one of them guys. I've been screaming all this stuff, man, Captain Obvious. And now, everybody can hear Captain Obvious.
mhm.
But it's just a real thing. And that's, y'all brought that up. I didn't even bring that up. But I mean, that
I
I
mean, it's
don't
it's
think.
a real thing though. It's a
Yeah,
real
like a
thing, you
real
know.
thing. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah, I would just, I mean, and that was really an example of more of a push for us to do to figure out another outlet for our kids as far as that goes. Because I mean, honestly, the way parents work with, it's kind of hard to restrict that. But I think that if we offer something else instead of that, instead of watching those shows, instead of watching those YouTube videos that, are subconsciously teaching our children to be okay with being loose, or dressing a certain way that may
Mm-hmm.
be seen as, I mean, and this is all the subject, but I've seen this a couple of times where you see a little girl and she's probably like 13 and she has on very, very short, like biker type shorts. And you just like, you know, you already know, like it just, some men you're making your child a target more, making her being seen more. And
yeah,
then, and naturally what happens is, you know, there a lot of times kids, their brain is not as developed, so they're more naive,
yeah,
what I mean? And they don't realize what's happening by the attention they're receiving. And the biggest difference I feel like that between dating men their age and then dating older men is that older men are going to be more assertive. So they're going to step in, especially as more of that father role, and that's something that they're 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 more, it's more natural for them to have a man lead in that way. You know what I mean? So I think that, how they're presenting that in that fashion is, we just got to evaluate that, man. We because it is so real. It is real. I mean, you think about it, how this world, man, it was normal for a 40-year-old man to marry a 13-year-old girl. This is stuff that has been embedded in our society, just like they talk about, the things that have made the United States what it is. That's part of it. That was a norm. So you're saying I'm going to take this away, but I'm only going to restrict a certain group from doing it. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be penalized. Everybody else can continue. You know what I mean? And it just like, I don't know. It's crazy. It to me is very, very, very crazy. Without speaking about any other group, I'm not going in on any sexual orientation or anything like that, but it's just more or less, we have to work on teaching our kids what is supposed to be normal. You know what I mean? What's supposed to be it's not normal to ask your child as 9 or 10 if she's into girls or boys. That's not normal. It should be, are you into math? Are you into science? Or
yeah,
are you into or what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? You want to come with daddy to work, or you want to come with mama to work. But their sex should not be that big of a deal. And I feel like kids are overly exposed to it. And it's very, very unfortunate, I feel like, compared to us growing up to where it is now.
man. You
They
know
have
what?
way
I tell you,
more. Go ahead.
I recently raised this argument, man. I was like, when we if we when you're dealing with youth, it wouldn't even matter like sexual preference, orientation. You're still too young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you
To be
gay, you
accepted.
straight, you're too young. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah. Come
not gonna
on.
lead you to a good place. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah,
It
it's
shouldn't be a topic. It really shouldn't be a
gonna
topic.
hold
And
you
I think
back.
people say you should talk about it early. No, I don't. I don't think it should be a topic like that. I think that, you should talk, that let that child be a child, and then, they're gonna have time to be a grown up, but and because it's around them so much. But if they come to you, answer the question and be transparent about it, but don't make that a focus. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Don't make that a focus. Make it a focus on something that's going to help them and benefit them. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I get it why a lot of parents um, will put the cell phone in front of the child, and before that it was a TV or what have you. But it because people are working a lot, and that child needs something to do. What can that child do? What are some events the child You either gonna play sports at school or what else? What other options are there?
Not many.
And then the ones we had, I mean, they don't last as long, but it's like, again, we're saying don't do this, but sit at home and read this book.
One thing that I could say is this is the adults they value their lives too. And so sometimes what we valuing takes us in a position where we can't be around them. And that's why it's so important to have two individuals that are committed
Oh yeah.
to
Oh yeah.
raising the future. Because like generally we're leaving one person to do it, and she can't do it all. So she don't
No.
have anyone there to help her in doing the role that's needed, so she can actually to educate those children properly the first few years of their life. What it is we're valuing our personal lives more than we're valuing the future of where we're sending a piece of ourselves to. So we're getting that instant gratification right now, and not having it. So one thing that I learned, is that you have more gratification for being there and playing your role than you do for running away from your role. I ran away from my role a long time, and that karma is, she don't play. She gonna come get you one way or the other. And all praises due. I didn't go to the point where my karma caught up with me and caused me heavy effects. I started dealing with it. And we know this is another thing too, is we talk about how, well, let me two things I want to say. One is the adults don't have boundaries, so they're teaching their children not to have boundaries. There's a certain community out here that they are way left on in boundaries, and so they're preaching that idea, which is very detrimental to our kids to not have boundaries. There's a reason why our blood stays in its veins. If it goes to the other parts of the body, it's corrupt. It's a reason why our food goes in our mouth and comes out the other end, because if it didn't, we wouldn't be able to get the nutrients. But when all that stuff gets mixed up, you got disease, you got sickness. When you got feces going into the blood, you poison the blood and it's disease. That means you're lacking boundaries. So these kids are growing up in a culture that allows them to mix boundaries, and then it's being treated scientifically as if it's okay to cross these boundaries. You see, so like I said, man, this is all one big system. The more we talk about it, I can see it so clear now. This is one big system that you know that we're dealing with, and it's a huge responsibility for us to deal with this and understand it. And we have to be no nonsense about the things that we will and won't allow to happen. And we're not no nonsense about it. We're not protecting our kids. We're not even protecting ourselves. And the best way that we can do that is to have moral standards and a certain level of quality that you're reaching. If you have certain level of quality, it's just certain things you won't do. If you have certain level of discipline, it's certain things you won't do. And that discipline defines your intelligence, and it is shown by outcome, the outcome of what our community will look like.
And not to cut you off, I really wanted to piggyback on what you said a moment ago, because there should have been like a standing applause or something like that, and that was in regard to having a two-person home, where a mother and a father is present, because it's really like, you got wrestling, you can tag somebody else in. You need to have a situation like that. I may not have the best day coming home. If I don't have the best day, I don't want to have to handle the kids and all their stuff by myself. So it's good to have somebody there that can pick up the slack when you're not as strong. You know what I mean? I think you give that child a better chance of getting the attention they need as well. You know what I mean? More or less. And I feel like that's another reason not to have sex too soon, because a lot of times when you're younger, those relationships don't have a great chance of staying together. No relationship really does, but you just better your chances of being stable and having that child. But our ultimate goal in these situations, as in being being individuals in this world, and we're just trying to be happy and be in love, is to find individuals that you can stay with and that will help you if you decide to have a family, raise that family. And I feel like that is one thing that people, they don't see, or everybody wants what they want it right now, but there is some effects to having a child where there's a good chance that there being a two-person home for that child. There is. It really is. And I don't know. I feel like that's what we're missing. It's already, we're not seeing or spending time enough with that child enough, but you're putting all that responsibility on one person. Whereas if you have two, you're bettering your chances, not guaranteed, but you're bettering your chances to give that child more of yourself and give them more of a head start in starting their own life. You know what I mean? More or less. But yeah, when you mentioned that earlier, I was just like, yeah, that's such a big thing. That's such a big thing.
Something you said that about, like you said, if you're working all day and you come home, you don't want to have to deal with deal with the kids. But the thing is you shouldn't, if let's say you should have to work all day.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come home, it should be a joy to play with your kids, because you're taking the kids off of her hand because she's been having them all day, and you need that energy that can make you, that can really lift your spirits. And sometimes children, they lift your spirits up. To come home and see your kids smile in your face and be just happy to see you may give you that boost of energy you need. And I agree with you. I do want to work all day. I don't want to be at home. I want to go.
But I wouldn't
do
say
something. No, I got what you're saying, but what I'm saying is like
okay.
us doing that as a 2-person household.
Mm-hmm.
It allows me to get out of the house, and by me getting out of the house to do what I need to do, I create an environment that allows her to be in her nature. So
Mm-hmm.
when I come home, I'm happy to be around them kids, or I'm happy to have my environment. Sometimes you ain't gonna feel like it, and that's where it's good to have somebody there that's gonna understand your situation. But generally, if we do it as a team, a tag team, man, it allows us to be the best version of ourselves. If you're a man, it allows you to be the best man. If you're a woman, a lot of these women, while we're talking about it, they don't have the opportunity to dig into their femininity. They don't have it because they have to work.
We ain't got the time for that one. That's a
I'm
long.
just saying though.
That's
That same woman who can't be in her femininity is the one that's raising our kids. That's our mothers. Yeah. So that whatever she's dealing with is going to be an effect on us, some way, shape, form, or fashion. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't want to go too deep into that.
Men raise equality. That's going to raise the women's quality.
Yeah,
that's nature.
It's up to us, man. It ain't up to the women to get themselves together, man. It's up to us, man. I agree.
Yeah, that's nature.
Well, no, I say that we're the example. We're the one that sets the trend. We're the ones that we're the protector of them. You know what I mean?
Nature,
we're the leaders, and I feel like when you were saying that, like femininity, man, most women that will never get to their femininity. Most of the women, and you got to think about it, and it's just like, and they need to, because you need your daughters to get to their femininity,
and it take us to take that masculinity back.
The thing is that, but you can't be in your masculine, you can't be in your femininity and her being her femininity. It's not going to work.
Not going to work.
Somebody's got to take the masculine role. Yep. That's just naturally how things work. So if you're with a woman, because I've done this, if you're with a woman who wants to be in her masculinity and you're a masculine man and you're a producer, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And she is doing herself no justice by choosing to be in her masculinity, because that's not natural for her. So she's going to have a chemical imbalance as a result of that, because her body is not made to be in a masculine state for a long period of time. Yeah, there'll be you'll get little portions or little commercials of the masculine state, but she needs to get back out of that in
Yep.
order to be who she needs to be, because her mind is not going to work right and using the masculine part of her brain is not, and she's going to explode as a result of that, because it's not meant to have that pressure. Just like a man is not meant to being as feminine for a long period of time, because that affects them psychologically and their chemistry and all of that
Yes,
chemical
sir.
imbalance.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's and it's so unfortunate for me that I know more women than I know more women who never have been in their femininity, because they always on the fence. They always had to play a masculine role. My mother, my sister, you know what I mean? Just people, aunts, never have gotten a chance to really be in their
Be
femininity.
women.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, to add to what you're saying, bro, uh, you can tell a woman who spent long periods of time channeling that masculine energy. She's hairy. She
Mm-hmm.
has facial hair.
Her
Now, you'll be
voice.
surprised how many of these women are out here getting waxes, getting the hair waxed off, and that way they can appear to be soft,
Mm-hmm.
and feminine like. But the truth is um, a lot of those women will go crazy if you put them in the position to face their femininity, to face themselves. Like one thing that everybody says, they need a woman to submit. That's not what we need anymore. Well, we need a woman to not to me, not to men. Women need to submit to their femininity. Once
Mm-hmm.
they submit to their femininity, they it's that's the law of nature. You got the yin and the yang. If we are both yang, and like if a man has to submit to his masculine role. He has to. Once he does that, he's going to attract a feminine woman. It may take some time or it may come quick, but if she submit to her femininity, she's definitely going to fit in the pocket with a man that's living his purpose and dealing with life how he's supposed to as a masculine man.
And he and she are both going to become more attractive for other individuals,
Yes.
because a man can see, he can smell that femininity on that woman,
It
and that
smell it
makes
smells
her
way
pop.
different than a chick that's pulling on her
Yeah.
masculinity, man. That sourness that they have, you know what I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about? And
Mm-hmm.
and, and there got to be some for men too. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Women can say that more than I could, but I definitely can tell the difference between a woman who's pulling more masculine than a woman that's pulling feminine. It's a certain type of sweetness that feminine woman and her odor has a certain sweetness versus uh, a masculine type woman. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's so all of these things are like, even though we went to this level, that's all sexual responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? To be able to understand your role and your nature and fit it within that. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
you're responsible for that. And a lot of
Do
us,
you feel like that with older men that date younger women, that they're putting them in a state of mind where they're comfortable, where they're able to be in their femininity, whereas the dudes their age are not able to understand how to.
I wouldn't say older man as much as I would say a masculine man, because a
Well,
young
no,
boy.
I'm speaking in regard to how you said before, the root of the conversation about younger women who go after these older men. Do you feel like the ones
Ah,
that do that? Do you feel like that they are making this person feel more like a woman, making her feel more feminine, and that's why she's choosing this older gentleman, because he's in his masculine role, she's in her feminine role,
I would
whereas
say this right here, like, because it's almost like a loaded question almost, because
uh,
a man who's in his role will attract women,
mhm.
but to attract a younger woman, I mean, we attract, but to go after that younger woman, why is he doing that?
That's a case
Like,
by case
it's a
sensitive
case by
basis
case
right
thing
there,
because
because you got a
like
lot
what's
of,
too young,
yeah.
then
And
what's the
then,
age
like,
difference, you
if
know?
if if they're not praying a lot, you have the older guys praying on the young
Yeah, that's my
You
thing.
know,
You got the older guys preying on them, and you
yeah.
got the you
They
know, it's a pride
victimizing
of your
them
difference
because
type older guy.
they victimizing them because they
But
don't have no intention, no good intentions towards them outside of
well,
using them up, sex or
Yeah.
whatever, and then that's
so,
it.
so like for example, my ex, she like her, like she was 15. She lied to her now son's father, and told him that she was older than what she really was. He was in his 20s. They were in the he was in the Navy, you know. So all this time he had thought that she was a certain age, well, before the child was born, but she was naturally attracted to him for, I don't know, for whatever reason. But I think that also you have women that go after these older gentlemen on purpose and will lie in order to have that man in those situations.
You know, I would say yes if men were like actually living up for to their true like essence, and they were like we had a large group of masculine men who were living at their purpose and knew how to be men. And
Mhm,
I would say yes, but we have a bunch of men that just get the bread and still jerks, man, still creeps,
mhm,
you know. And they know how to like I always say this: no woman will ever be loyal to a man. Okay, she's loyal to her emotions, and men
mhm,
that understand that will manipulate the emotions and make her feel as if he, you know what I'm saying. So that's why, like, you know, here at the, you know, what we talk when we dealing with at the men equality, we don't deal with feelings, because feelings mean that you can easily be manipulated. The
mhm.
facts are what they are. They stand as what they are. So a woman
Facts over
who's
feelings.
dealing with her feelings can, you know, unless she's really powerful with her mind, can be manipulated into feeling like this guy really cares for her. I like
Mhm,
her. I want to be with her. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So if that's why I said so kind of loaded, because most of us ain't on our square. It's only a few of us that are, man. And then when you're on your square, you got a slew of women that don't care nothing about you. They just want the security that they think you may be able to provide for them, but with no mental enrichment, no spiritual enrichment. They just want that lower nature taken care of, which is food, clothing, and shelter.
mhm.
You know, so that's how I see that. But if I still say it starts with us, man. When we not dropping the seed, they act right. When we command uh uh the environment better, like right now we just in a state of demanding. You know what I'm saying? I deserve this. I deserve this. I deserve that. No. But when you command it, you're not speaking those words. And you know, you can't a young boy that's not understanding how life really works and can't access the environment or his resources, he can't command nothing. That's why he demands it, you know. And that's the difference between what we're dealing with. A man of low quality demands. A man of high quality, he commands the environment in the room. So he commands the attention for his woman to do certain things. Now, you know, women are women. They're gonna buck the system. And they the ocean. They're gonna one day they're gonna be calm. Next day they're gonna be all over the place. But that shouldn't stop you from commanding your ship to make it to your goal. You know, and it takes a strong brother to do that. It takes a brother that's disciplined, and most of us need to see that in action.
Well, and I would say this also. I think it's important for men not to judge on if they're a man or not, depending on what a woman tells them. You
Exactly,
know,
Harvey.
a
Come
lot of
on, bro.
times
Talk
women will
about it.
try to will step into place and try to tell you what a man is, but she can't tell you what a man is because she can only tell you what a woman is. Now, and I think that when you get away from that, then you're like, hold up, I'm a man whether I'm with this woman or not. Hey, I don't feel like I can be the man I need to be, so I can leave this woman alone and feel like I'm still masculine. But now that's manipulation and saying that you're not a man. What they're ultimately trying to do is trying to change you into being or challenge you and to see how tough you really are. You know what I mean? But I think that, you know, if you are a man, you can realize, hey, this woman is not good for me. What I'm trying to accomplish and what I see my worth at, I don't need to be around this person no longer than I've already have been around this person. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And you need to get with someone or be in a relationship and be around people that are going to help you get where you're going. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Especially if you're choosing a mate. It's different if you're choosing a friend A friend, you're around them, but not a lot. But a mate, that's a big influence on your 24/7. You know what I mean? Because you're around this person more than any. You're around this mate longer than you're around your own kids. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So you really got to be more careful in how you select this person that you're going to give all your time to, because what happens naturally, if I start hanging around one of you guys, like we're hanging out a lot, you're going to see me. I may start dressing in a similar way, or I may
We're gonna learn some mannerisms from each
yeah,
other. Yeah.
exactly. So if you think about that, if you're around the wrong person for a long enough time, you're gonna pick up and pull in a lot of that stuff. And that
Mm-hmm.
again is gonna stop your growth from getting where you're supposed to be going. You know what I mean? And I feel like you have to be in a natural state. You cannot be with a woman that's acting masculine. And again, you got to be confident within yourself to be like, you know, something, this is not a good relationship. This is not a
Right.
good relation. This is not conducive for my kids. This isn't conducive for my mental health. You know, and you have to evaluate that and change that up.
Yeah. We spend too much time. We spend too much time feeling the situation out.
Mm-hmm.
And a clear mind can see faster than a disturbed mind. So we
Mm-hmm.
already notice that if you're having sex, your mind is not as sharp.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to keep the mind sharp, you gotta keep your seed in your brain. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So that's one thing that I'm noticing. Brothers that blast off a lot. I'm speaking of my own past. I would get upset a lot. I would be easily moved. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But then when you break up with a person, or you have a bad argument for a couple of weeks, y'all not sleeping with each other, you get stronger, you get sharper, your vision get good. I mean, your mental clarity gets super sharp, and then things get better. So you find yourself spending 3 or 4 days, 5 days smashing in a row and wondering why your insides ain't feeling right, and your shit is funny. You know what I'm saying? You're not having right bowel movements. You got issues with your body, you know what I'm saying? Because the life force is leaving you. You get stiff real easy. You know what I'm saying? Stiffness to me is only rigor mortis. So every time you blast off, you're giving a piece of that life away, you just dying sweetly. It feel good, but you're dying, because we only got so much life for us to live. And if you're not, a master, if you haven't mastered the physical to where you bust off, you can build it back up, which we don't even know that science. I think a brother should know that science of how one how to say no, and then two, when he do start, how to build his body back up, how to take a few days off. It takes 7 days for your body to replenish the energy you just lost. And then if you don't know that science, you're gonna stay in a foggy mind state. You know what I'm saying? I've been through that before, and so that's one of the things that we need to make sure that these brothers know. You know, a lot of us don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about the effects of overstimulating ourselves because we thinking it's natural, and then you mix that overstimulation of sex with alcohol and drugs and eating, overeating, it will start to cause our bodies to have an adverse effect. Now we're not at the top of our game. And someone said this: if you want to get anything you want from a man, put him in a pink room. A woman told me this: if you want to control a man, just put him in a pink room. So I'll sit there and thought about it. Like how many men gonna go in the pink room? Well, if you're hetero, we all go in the pink room, just a small box. You know what I'm saying? And we go in that room and she's able to communicate with us through telepathic, whatever you want to call it, and we start to give up our lives. And a woman one time told me that she had a problem with me because I just couldn't say no. I couldn't say no to having sex with her and blasting off. I had to have it. And it disgusted her because I would not stay out of it. Now that right there is a you thinking you doing something, but she's like, man, look, you just always gotta have it. It may be good, but damn, can you just give me a break sometimes? And I had to realize, well, shit, I'm just dying right now. And she sees that, and I don't have the strength to say no to it. I don't have the strength to close the gate. That takes a lot of strength to be able to close that gate. You know, I'm bonding with her on the lowest nature, because we release certain chemicals that cause us to bond. Women release chemicals that cause them to bond, but sometimes we don't even get them to release their chemical. We selfish, get to the point where you just get selfish. I got to get mine. There's a lot of women dealing with men like that, so the bonding ain't taking place, properly. That's another part of the sexual responsibility, to understand those unseen forces, those unseen things, and how they affect the environment around us. We've already just said, going back to being a teenager, doing it, what that teenager grows into the adult that goes back and get teenagers, because they still locked in a teenage mind, and they can't really handle adult confrontation, adult situations. They learn to go get a job, because a teenager can go get a job. That's about as small as you can get right there. But um, they not moving past that. We don't have enough of us going into community roles like government, and we have more foreigners coming over here teaching us about our health, and they don't have our body types. Because we don't understand our body types. Um, yeah, man, it's deep, bro. I mean, it's a lot. We probably can talk all night about, a few nights about this, and uncovering that it's all the same thing. Every problem that we going through, I'm gonna say this. Nobody else can say it, but I'm gonna say this. Probably 90% of the problems we going through is because of mental illness, of childhood trauma, and having sex too early.
Mm.
The sicknesses we going through is because of that same choice.
Yeah. That's
Premature pregnancy.
yeah.
It's like, one of the things that I looked at is when an older person is preying on a young person, it's often abusive, exploitive, and overpowering. With that, an older man is and a older woman is not going to insist that the other person use contraceptives, because they want that clean, that clean smash. They want that clean energy like a vampire. You know what I'm saying? So that increases the risk of pregnancy and STDs, behavioral problems due to drug use, and delinquency. And these become long term. You get, if sex is good and you get addicted to that, and you're taking drugs, and you get used to going raw. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to put on a condom and block that sensation. When you get used to stealing those juices, it's hard for you to put on a condom and stop those juices from flowing. That's part of the drug, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. This stuff is real deep, bro. Yeah, we've been on here for like about an hour and 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying, fellas? I don't know how much more y'all got to go. Or y'all want to build on? We can build on as long as y'all want to, but just letting y'all know what the time marker is.
Yeah. Um, I think that's we covered some, we covered a lot because we went places that aren't, common, you know what I mean? Not touched on uh common. So I'm good. I'm good. Chew on what we build on this evening.
Mm-hmm.
It was necessary. I feel like it was definitely necessary. And getting different perspectives, not sweeping it under the rug and talking about the things that are uncomfortable.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing comfortable about none of the conversations we just had or discussion we had. But um, the good thing is if we attack it, it becomes easier, and we're becoming more educated.
Mm-hmm.
We're sharing our experiences, um, and we're enlightened. I mean, hopefully, this will help others that are dealing or with something similar or about to deal with it. More or less how to better handle the situation because nobody's perfect. But everybody's just doing the best they can, and this could be somebody can add to their own understanding to help build and do better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll be interesting. It would be interesting to have a woman's point of view to
Mhm.
share some of the symptoms or insight that women go through from dealing with sexual irresponsibility from their end.
Would
You
you
know,
would you would you say that that would be something? I mean, I'm just thinking on the top of my head would be the easiest one, but I don't know if it would be appropriate. But significant others, having them chime in on this and giving their own perspective and what you think. I don't know. That's
I
something
mean,
that.
I think it would be good, but like with everything, you need to have that conversation before it takes place
Hmm.
live. You know what I mean? Because we've all talked once or twice about these subjects before. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So, and then too, women ain't as they don't like us to know. They always hiding secrets and stuff.
That
They
makes
want us
sense.
to know
Yeah.
where they at. So you really got to find a woman who's. I would say I would like a woman who's bold enough to even get up here. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Most of them wouldn't be. You'd have to find. I don't know. Maybe.
she's
I
gonna
don't
be a
know.
little masculine. She's gonna have some
Yeah.
little masculine energy on her.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
hey, it's some women, man. It's plenty of women out here, man.
We just got to find them. I mean, we gonna find them. They gonna pop up. They gonna pop up, and I'm cool
Yeah.
with letting that be. You know what though, to really have that heavy gravity, it makes more sense to have the spouses, you know, that to chime in on it because they are the ones that are recipients of the quality of man that we are speaking of in ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know my wife wouldn't mind.
Is that who you're looking at?
Nah.
Mhm.
uh, yeah, that'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind. Ain't gonna do it though. Yeah. No, it's not gonna work.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would like for her to, but
Is this YouTube?
yeah, we're on YouTube, but we're on YouTube and StreamYard.
Okay.
So it's on YouTube live, but we on StreamYard like recording it live.
I feel like you would have to go in on some of these other female platforms and see,
I'm
you
working
know.
on it, bruh.
I
I'm,
know.
work-
I already
I'm
know.
working on it. See, we got to get us a library together first,
Yeah.
and then when we go in there and start talking, they're gonna be
Consistency.
like, "What do you? What do you think? Who do you think he is?" And go back and look at some of the material and be like, "Okay,
Yeah.
all right then." But I'm working on it step by step. I'm trying to get, bro, to get his page set up, and then we just start attacking him you know, like double O agents. You know what I'm saying?
I
He go
dig
in
it.
on one, I go in on the other one. Then I show up
Yeah.
on the same one, and he show up on, and then we just make our presence known. As we
Yeah.
in here, we on these streets with y'all. We
Yeah.
got something to say a little different. We just think a little different. We on the same path, but here go my perspective.
And,
So,
and and we all want to see you get to the end zone.
you know
Everybody
what I
want
mean?
to see you win. We just got a different perspective or a different route
That's
to
it.
getting there. That's it.
Yeah, we're not challenging. We
No.
just saying, hey, I'm over
I
here.
love you. I want to see you win, baby.
Yeah, I got something to say too. And
Yeah.
one thing that I also know is what I like about how the approach we take, and this is different than anybody. They're gonna start copying it now, but we're airing out the problems, not the people.
Hmm.
A woman can get on here and she's not gonna feel like we're attacking women. A man can come on here and feel like he's not being attacked, but they all share the same illness. A lot of us were young and taken advantage of. A lot of us were young and dumb, and we all share different grade levels of the same illness.
Hmm.
And that's what's important that we deal with that. And some of us, we need the people who started young, started late, was virgins all the way up until their 20s, 25. We need them to chime in too because they just as important. We have to see what that looks like.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We need to see more of those things because I didn't. I started a little early, but
Yeah.
I'm only sharing my experience because I grew out of some of that, and I'm still in the process of trying to grow out of it. That's why I'm having this conversation with other men, and hopefully we can get women so we can push the level and raise our quality even more.
Yeah. It's automatic.
Yep. All right, fellas, we're gonna go ahead and shut this down. Get some
All right.
rest.
Good
And,
talk, gentlemen.
yep, get ready to go to the next level. And yeah, hopefully we can meet again in a week or so and take it to an even higher level.
Yeah. Appreciate you, B.
To
Yeah,
the
appreciate
top.
you, B, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh man,
Yeah.
appreciate you gentlemen. You guys are always exceptional. You want the best barbers in the world.
Man, I'll tell you, I'll just take him downtown. I'll take that.
Yeah. Shout Rob Maximus and Sunlight Vision Z.
Yeah. Just shout out to everybody that was listening. And, if you like what the content is, like, share, and subscribe. Make a comment. Tell us what you think. If it's something we missed, definitely share it with us so we can talk about it in the next video. And we're just
Let's
going to keep
talk
this
about
train
it.
moving. Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
All right, have a good one.
Good night.
Peace.
Peace.